there's a difference between finding your message and owning it. And it's when somebody really owns it, you see it. It's in their vibration, it's in their feeling, it's everything that they're doing. And it's in that moment that the whole world opens up to them. They see so much opportunity, dreams come to life, and you go, wow, I am here for a purpose. I am, right? And all I have to do is.
Gail, we want to welcome you to the Resilient Entrepreneurs podcast today. We are looking forward to this conversation about women in entrepreneurship and speaking and all things raising our profiles so that we share our stories and inspire others to share theirs because it's really important to do so. So thank you for joining us. We're looking forward to this one.
I'm super excited. I've been waiting for it for the last couple of weeks, so I'm glad we're now here at this time.
Same. So we're going to start with my new famous, fabulous magic wand question. So if I handed you a magic wand that could change one thing in the world right now, what would it be and why?
The one thing that I would change is that women would not only find their voice, but trust it and trust it enough and have the courage or the belief to share it because it is the message that they've been gifted with. That gifted message will change the world, change somebody. And too often, I think we miss out on some brilliant messages just because, and I've heard this too often, is that people will go, well, nobody wants to hear what I have to say. That's not important. They already know that. Who's going to listen to me? And I want to say that the magic wand here would be believe in yourself. That gifted message that you hear in your guts, it's there for you to share it.
Give that lady a magic wand now, Laura. I'd love to see more of that happening too. I wonder why it's important that we do share our voice as women in particular, and just generally as people to have an opinion, to have it be heard. Why is that important?
Well, it's through our voice that change happens, right? I mean, a great podcast like this, giving people platform, the ability to share their message. And I've always believed that each one of us has been gifted with a message and we feel it inside, right? We do, we hear it. But it's a trust factor with ourselves that we matter, that that message matters. And it is when we step into the courage or walk through it, even though we're scared to death to share it. I've been so amazed at what I've witnessed when women do that, the transformation it brings, not only to themselves, but to the lives that they're touching, whether they're crossing paths somewhere, um, it, through books, through clients, your community, your country. We have the power to transform anything we want, I believe, if we use our voice.
Yeah. I recently heard a statistic that men still outnumber women as speakers at conferences 3 to 1. I was so shocked by that. Like, why? Why is that still the case?
It's that, okay, now you've hit my button.
Good. That's
Now
good.
you've hit my button. Be prepared. Now, why is that the case? Men have been in the market of speaking. They support and promote one another. In the speaking industry, people share names. When you think about right now, if I asked you the question, give me your top speaker, I bet you it's a male's name, right? With purpose and passion, one of my greatest things that I want to do is change the language in terms of within, and that's why Women Speakers Association was born, because we were in a community where we were looking at big stages And we were seeing all the men come across, and we were wondering, where are the women? We know that they're there. Why aren't they on those stages? And an audience is wanting it, right? We're wanting it, but it's a whole big picture in the industry that we have to come together and we have to stand together. And if, for example, if you're a woman who owns a conference and you're marketing to women, why not put a women headliner in? Why not? Too often I have seen uh, them choose a male. And the reason they're doing it is because of the business aspect, which is more bums in the seats. We got to see the big name, right? If we change the game, if we start promoting and sharing names of other women, we will get there too. But we all have to work together on this, all of us. And that's why in Women Speakers Association, the hard commitment is only women hold the microphone here, period. It does not matter your name, you know?
I think that's so important that you've drawn that line in the sand, Gail. And thank you for sharing the passion that lies behind your entrepreneurial journey or venture with Women Speakers Association. And to understand the commercial aspect of it really helps to frame why this is happening. And once we understand why, then I think it's a whole lot easier to solve the problem. At least in my mind, it is. Whether in reality it's easy to solve the problem, I don't know. But just to hear you say that a women's conference would still have a male keynote just doesn't make sense to me. Yet I do see it happening.
Mm-hmm.
And you're right. You asked me to call up to mind a couple of people who are big name speakers, and yeah, I confess they were all guys.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's something behind the scenes, not promoted, was when I would see this and I would have the phone conversation. I'd phone up the person who owns the conference. It's easy to, and reach out to them and challenge them with that question. They go, well, I couldn't find a woman that would speak on this. I said, well, I could give you a list of 5. You can choose from all parts of the world, right? You pick. So the good news is in 2011, when Women Speakers Association first was born, we were doing some industry stats, and stages held less than what was the number? Less than about 15% in all verticals. Okay, on the stages. Fast forward to today, and a recent when we just redid those numbers a couple of years ago, we have found now it's just shy of 40% now that women are holding the in those same verticals. Now, what's changed for us is online speaking. We have podcasts going through the roof, right? We're speaking on Zoom. We're zooming into conferences, things like that. So it's a lot easier to gain that access. But still, when it comes down to the main stage, that celebrity moment, that 90-minute keynote that controls the whole audience on that big stage, lights, camera, action, quite often that's where you're going to find your big draw. And unfortunately, that's probably what we want it to change. We'd like to see more women in that spot because there are some amazing women with amazing messages, and when they're on the stage, they're sharing their message with passion. They're doing what they do because it's their purpose, you know?
Yeah. Is access one of the limitations that women have to fight? Like, because you made a good point. Like, it's really easy to zoom in. It's easy to, be able to come in from your office or your living room, wherever, versus having to fly and get to a place and maybe then figure out childcare if you have young kids, or, because women take on more multifaceted roles,
Mhm.
than a lot of men might. So is that a big piece of this puzzle that maybe explains a little bit of the why?
Think so. I mean, we definitely saw it when the world locked down during the pandemic. Women were, when kids started having to leave their school systems, and your dining room table was one school, and your basement bedroom was another school. It was more the mother, because I think that's just how we're really wired in terms of support and compassion, and I noticed a lot of women in Women Speakers Association were stepping back from their dream, their career, their whatever they were building, to go back into their family and feed their family what they needed, whatever that was. So, yes, I think that's a big piece. Having been in the corporate world and being on a plane every second week with young kids and aging parents, it's a tough life. You are stressed, right? Not only are you hustling a big job, you are trying to maintain this family, and going to Christmas concerts, and grade, kindergarten graduations and things.
Yeah. And it's hard. It's hard to miss those things. And we don't want to miss those
No.
things. And, we often talk on this podcast about balance, and that elusive word I feel is balance. But I'm also starting to realize it's about seasons in life too. Like sometimes it's, one season is when, you have young kids and you've really got to focus in, on their needs. And then there's other seasons as we get more mature and, our kids get older, and it gives us a little bit more space.
Mhm.
But so let's talk to those women who are in that space now. So they do have a bit more space. Maybe their kids have gone to university, or they're just teenagers with their lives, and they have a little more capacity to get up on the stage, but they haven't built that platform, built that profile for themselves yet. What are some of the steps that women can take? Because they have a message, they know, they're passionate about what they believe in. Perhaps they're entrepreneurial and they're starting something and they want to share it, but they're real stuck on the how. Like, where do I start? Yeah.
Well, you've heard the saying, we're the sum of the five people we hang around with the most. Okay. So we have our friend groups that have their expectations of us. But now, when you've decided, now that we're in this season, you go, you know what? I want to really give my idea some time here. I want to give it some attention, right? The number one thing to do is get into community of like-minded women. 110%. The entrepreneurial journey, whether you're just starting out or you're midway through or you're a seasoned pro, I mean, it comes with its ups and downs, right? And
Mhm.
it has always been, well, that's my experience when I was just entering into the entrepreneurial world, was its community that gets you through. There was no expectations of other entrepreneurs meeting you and going, "Well, where do you live and what did you do?" or anything like that. They were like, "Hey, where are you going? Right? What do you need?" And it was just, "What, you mean you don't want anything from me? You just want to know how you can best support me?" And I tell you, that was when I met people like that. This is where I want to be, because in corporate, it's not like that, right? It can be aggressive. It's competitive. Your your partner that you might have to work alongside would love to take you out to grab your sale or your commission. It's just a different thought process. So when I met entrepreneurs, when I was introduced to the entrepreneurial world, I thought this is the most brilliant world ever. I'm never leaving, and you feel like you're home because you're just welcomed and just around people that go, "Hey, great, what are you doing, Laura? Oh, how can I help you? Need a connection to somewhere? Great. You know what? I have a podcast. Why don't I interview you?" Right? So I love
Mhm.
that. That's the way it should be.
Yeah, that's why women build better businesses. We just do. We build more nurturing, more inclusive businesses. And I'm absolutely 100% with you. It's about that community you get into. And a lot of people who aren't an entrepreneur yet, like, so if you're here listening in and you know, you're just sort of on the fence whether you're going to make that leap, I'll tell you, entrepreneurs are not the gatekeepers in this world. We're the ones, like you said, oh, you need this. Okay, what tech? I can help you with tech. I can help you with, we are so willing and open to just give and share information because we want to see others succeed because we know how hard this journey is. And we get excited for other people coming on this journey too. So
Mhm.
believe there are groups out there that will support you.
100%. And this is where we can even take it up a notch. We just talked about the stages, about getting more women on stages. One thing that we're always talking about in Women Speakers Association, because it is that community, is to say if you have another dollar to spend, look for another woman to share that dollar with. Because now what we're doing is we're fueling her business with what she needs to grow her business. There's still that thing where I'll be going, oh, I'm talking to somebody, oh, I just hired a coach, Bob Smith or whoever, right? And it's like, well, didn't you know there's other members that could support you with that, right? So it's a consciousness, it's a permission to just, and an awareness just to go, listen, if I have another dollar to spend, I will first look to my community of women. And fair enough, if there's not a connection or if there's uh, uh, not somebody that can satisfy your need, then sure enough, move on, right? But this is how we can take it up another notch. It's one thing talking about it, but it's another thing being in action about it.
Thank you, Gail. This is such a great level up because I sit here in Australia and I often hear, and I'm sure everywhere where you are, Gail, where you are, Laura, you hear buy local. And this is buy local in a really meaningful way. It's a whole new buy women campaign.
Can we start that campaign? I want to do that like right now. Okay, right here.
Yes, I think we should. I love how you've just brought that together because that is in that marketing aspect. Yeah, buy local, buy the country, support your country. But yeah, I love that, Vicky. Okay, your task, let's run with it. Let's go.
Okay. We'll just workshop that off scene and let everybody know how we're going, how you can be involved in By Women. It's great. But, and your point is so valid. Now, let's, can we focus a little bit more again on entrepreneurs raising their profile, having their voice heard, and what that gives a woman to be on stage? What are the because some of our listeners might go, oh, yeah, but that's not me. You know what I'm saying? But we know, each of us knows, that it could very well be a you. It could very well be if you're sitting out there thinking, oh, this is an interesting conversation, but I'm not a speaker. Perhaps you are.
Ah, okay. Um, yes, I'm not a speaker. So we all speak, we all interact. And one thing that's really changed in our world, stages are redesigned. When we talk about, oh, a speaker going to the stage, what typically comes to mind is the big audience, big stage, all the lights, all that fun, right? But that's not the case today. Our audiences could be small groups, the classroom, the boardroom, the floor of the UN. We can deliver our message through online platform, through podcast, or we can be live and in person. So when we hear I'm not a speaker, well, how about this? Let's redefine this or change the language a little bit. Do you have a message? What's that little message that you feel deep inside, right? Because that's your gifted message. Now, what if you share it? What happens, right? And there's a quote that I put on when I first joined Facebook, which was back in '09. And it was by Dr. Seuss. And it said, to the world, you may be one person, but to one person, you may be the world. And what that is by sharing our message, it's a gift. It's a gift to give, right? Whatever it is. But the second part of that question was, you asked, what does it do for you as the speaker, as the messenger? Why don't you maybe reframe yourself as, this is just my message. I'm not a speaker. It's my message. It's my skill, right? What does it do for me when I really dig down deep and share it? I witness transformation in the lives of others, for sure, because they're going, wow, that's what I needed to hear. But more so, they witness the transformations in themselves, the confidence, the realization that, oh, my voice did matter. Oh, it does make change. It does have an impact. Wow, that's incredible. And when I see women all the time go through this experience where they it's like the light bulb goes on, where, oh, okay, you're right. Okay, you're right. My message does matter. And now when when they just pass through that gate of fear, um, they're unstoppable. Unstoppable. They are digging deeper. They are going further. They want to go on podcasts. They want to go on stage now. It is beyond a small group. And that flow, that energy of that they're feeling so empowered to share their voice is the most beautiful thing you'll ever witness in your life. Guaranteed.
Hey there, sorry for the interruption, but if you're a woman entrepreneur ready to raise your profile, expand your reach, and start being seen as the expert you already are, we have a challenge for you. Vicky and I have created a free guide called the LinkedIn to Latte Method. Check it out in the link below. It's designed especially for women who are done playing small and are ready to attract opportunities, clients, and increase your visibility. No tech overwhelm, no awkward call DMs, just clear, authentic strategy that works. So download the free LinkedIn to Latte guide below, take the challenge, and start turning your brilliance into real opportunities. Now, back to the episode.
Oh, it sounds fantastic. It sounds like a transformational path. We always say that being in business for yourself is the greatest personal development journey you can be on. Although it certainly sounds like becoming a speaker or a messenger, I love that reframe, is a pretty close second to an amazing personal journey that you can go on of growth. And really, I think what I'm hearing you say is when we start to share our message, we begin to hear our own message.
Yeah.
Because I think we dim our light. We just settle for what is because that's within our range, within our reach. It doesn't disrupt anybody. Goodness me, let's not be disruptive. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I really appreciate that there's a two-way benefit to this.
Oh, 100%. And sometimes almost more for the person when they first find. And there's a difference between finding your message and owning it. And it's when somebody really owns it, you see it. It's in their vibration, it's in their feeling, it's everything that they're doing. And it's in that moment that the whole world opens up to them. They see so much opportunity, dreams come to life, and you go, wow, I am here for a purpose. I am, right? And
Yeah.
all I have to do is open my mouth. And
Yeah.
but it is, the big thing is, it is that fear that holds us back from sharing our message, uh,
Yeah.
because again, it's those other voices, and really those voices are only in our head. You're not good enough. Who wants to hear it? Who are you to share that when we have, ABC person out there who's has all the credentials after their name, that they're better than you, right? That noise that's in our head, another wand wave. I wish we could, if I get another wand wave, I wish we could somehow really clear those and talk to ourselves with the same kindness and respect that we would about another person. Because as women, we're awesome at sharing about great things with other people, what they're doing. It's so, but we'll say to ourselves, "Oh, you're not that great. Why you shouldn't go on camera. You need to lose and 20 pounds. And people aren't going to look
Oh,
at you. You've aged out. Like, need some all that kind of bad talk, and we do it to ourselves, you know?
mhm.
So this
Mm.
is where community steps in and goes, "No. What did you just say? No. Let me help course correct that for you. Let me tell you how
Yes.
beautiful you are. Let me tell you that what a powerful message you have. And let me help you share it. How about I walk beside you and help you share it? You know? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Power
it.
of community is
Mhm.
fantastic. And when I put my coach hat on, that magic wand already exists, Gail,
Mm,
because those fears are, as you know, conditioning that we've picked up along the way. And it has a role, and it was there to keep us safe from embarrassing ourselves
mm,
or from, there's a fundamental primal reason for that fear. And it's our job as adults, now that we're in this game of adulting and wanting to follow our dreams, it's really quite straightforward to unravel that conditioning and replace it with something that's far more functional and useful. So that's exciting because that's the space where we get to play in and really clear that old stuff that no longer serves us.
mhm.
And that's why I personally love coaching. That's my magic wand is let everybody clear, like you said, let everybody clear those old conditionings and come back to your core essence, the message that you know you have inside of you and could share. So thank you for that message.
Oh, you're welcome. Well, thank you for the work that you're doing in helping, people, women find their strength of voice because it is scary. It's scary to go, "Ooh, this is my message." I recently we had a member 3 years ago. She shared her message in a book. We have a series called Voices of the 21st Century, and it's an opportunity. This is where some women really face their fear of sharing their personal story. And she shared her story. She was a copywriter by trade, met her business, and she decided to share a personal piece of her. And it was on domestic violence, a secret that had been held in herself for decades. She released it and within a year had started a foundation called Escape to Better um, to support women who were also uh, in domestic violence situations. And then she shared a second story. The next year, she says, "I have to go into the next book because I've gone deeper now. Now, once that her secret was let free or set free, it just opened up everything that was suppressed, and she has come to life in a way that has been so phenomenal, so amazing, inspires so many people to step into their truth. It's painful. It can be painful, but you get through it when you're surrounded with people who will support you to go, "Yeah, let's keep going with this story. You can do it. You can do it." It's going to make huge change for even if it's just that one person where you're the world to just one person, right? So,
Yeah.
um, I love stories like that, and I see them over and over and over and over and over, and it just what keeps me getting up out of bed every morning to show up fully in Women Speakers Association. It's just that's it.
Yeah, I think more of us need to realize that when we do share those really vulnerable, authentic, challenging aspects of life that we've, gone through, it's incredible how many people come up and go, "Me too. I've been through there too." And I can see it's exactly why her foundation just formed almost itself because by telling her story, she was probably flooded by people going, "Me too. I needed that support." And then it's instant where you can create, okay, how do we create something that helps? Because all of a sudden I'm realizing how many people have been through the
Yeah.
same thing. I think if I can just tell a story about my daughter, she's a dancer. And I remember her very first recital, and those nerves, those butterflies, that getting on stage feeling is terrifying, especially your first time. And, I remember talking to her so much, and we came up with a new word. I think I've made this up. Maybe I've heard it somewhere, but I call it nervous-sighted. Mom, I'm so nervous. I said, no, you're not. You're nervous-sighted. That's it. And the reason you're nervous-sighted is because you're so excited about what you're going to do that your belly is full of butterflies. And she's like, yeah. And I said, and you're excited because you get to go on stage and you get to make people really happy because people love to watch dance. It's just so fun and exciting. And people just, you smile and they smile and you make people happy. And like the change in her whole thing was so obvious. And she just went out there and blew up the stage. I mean, her smile was so bright. It was like flashing like a lighthouse, It was like she was at home. And I've just seen that over and over. I work backstage a few years now, and I just see all the kids and the nerves. And when you kind of tell them, like, you're just out there to make people happy. You're just out there to make people smile. But it's that switch to like service mindset from like, oh my God, it's me, and I'm going to be vulnerable on stage, and people are going to look at me and judge me, to I'm here to serve people,
I
to
love
make them
that.
happy, to tell them a story, to share something vulnerable, like whatever you're going on stage for, whatever stories you're telling, like it's
Hmm.
in service to other people.
Hmm.
When you can switch out into that mindset, I think that's what makes it a lot less scary.
I love that. I love that. A technique that I personally use as well on stage, being founder of Women Speakers Association. Oh, you must be a really great speaker. And I'm like, oh, like pressure, right? And it's so what I use is I'll come out and just say, I'm here to have a conversation with you. I have some ideas that I'll share with you. Take what you want, not take what you don't want. I'm just here to have a conversation. When I've used that, I watch the audience shoulders drop,
Mm.
and then as a result, I drop. Same thing. You're just coming into service, going, "Hey, I have some information. I'll share it with you. If it works for you, great. If it doesn't, no problem." So same kind of thing. Just it's how we. Isn't it funny how the slightest word change can change everything?
Yeah. I
Mm.
love that, having a conversation. In fact, that's how we start most of these podcasts. When we first, come into the room, and before we even hit record, we just say, we're just here to have a conversation.
Yeah,
And I swear it changes the vibe in the
yeah,
room immediately. It like just releases that, it's just a conversation. That's what we're here for.
yeah,
And people love to hear conversations
yeah,
because it's back and forth and interesting. So yeah, get on stage, share a conversation, get on a podcast and just share a conversation. It's powerful. It's powerful and
Mm.
simple.
it is.
And Gail, I mean, I want to know, even if it's just in a nutshell, about your entrepreneurial journey. You started this because you saw a gap in the market. You saw a need to change. It's a movement you've started and created and grown. So tell us how
Okay.
that's been for you as an entrepreneur.
Well, my background has been in corporate where it's very aggressive. I used to say you never have to worry about someone stabbing you in the back because they'll look you straight in the eye and go for the heart, right? Uh, I was in a highly aggressive, it was an executive sales environment, just wild. And then I started working in the women's business market and meeting entrepreneurs and thought, oh, these are an interesting bunch, right? Everybody was so positive, full of ideas, but they weren't really making any money. And I thought, wow, that's because you're not doing these, like, the same corporate strategies. So I began kind of working that way. And then when it came time to having stage and looking for people on those stages, so call myself working behind the curtain, right? Uh, there was a lot of judgment. And it was really sad because I would meet somebody really great and go, "Oh, Vicky, I love what you're about." Then I go, "Okay, you know what? I'd love to feature you." "Oh, okay, great, great." And then I go, "Now we have to go down the checklist. Do you have a book? Do you have this? Do you have that? Do you have this? Do you have that?" "No, no. Oh, I'm sorry. I can't get you out there because you're not fitting the business needs of, right? Not my choice. So I thought we are missing out on so much talent, important messages. We're missing out because someone doesn't check the box according to whoever wrote that list. So this was the opportunity to what if we could create an environment where it was the belief system and true belief system since 2011. There is no message greater, there is no message less than your gifted message. And it matters. And you get equal opportunity. We want an environment where the everybody had the exact same opportunity. It wasn't about how long you've been in business. It wasn't if you could afford or knew how to market yourself, that it was very important for you to get your message out. And that's what was created. That's why we are the number one visibility platform for women with a message, because everyone who is part have the right and the equal opportunity to get their message out as well, with no judgment. You won't be asked if you have a book or
That's great. And your organization, your movement is now global. I mean, I sit in Australia and I was in a meeting with you just the other day. And you're obviously in America. Tell us about the scale that you've built to.
well, and what's very interesting, Vicky, is when we first started, it was before any real social media. And we started with a conversation. It was about women getting their voice out. And with literally only a handful of women sharing. I mean, these were personal phone calls. Could what do you, people shared out this. It was a blog post, first blog post. And again, no social media. We had a goal of reaching 500 people over 6 months. Well, that we exceeded 500 people in 3 weeks. And what was very, very, very interesting was that those 500 women, you know, were planted in 80 countries. Wild, right? So it was very quickly realized this is a global conversation. It wasn't just about where we were started from in North America, right? It was a global conversation, and women from all over going, "What is this? What are you doing?" And we went, don't know. All we are is a name." So then it flipped back to those 500 women going, "Well, what do you need?" And it was from their need that then we went, "Okay, well, what do we do here? We go find partnerships, relationships, joint ventures to help fulfill these needs." And so Women Speakers Association has been built over time, now reaching over 120 countries. And everything you see that goes on in here has been because we've asked the question and continuously ask it, what do you need? And it's from that information that we then support those needs. That's all. So this is um, a movement and a network or a community of women built by them all coming together. There's lots of women go, okay, this is what I want to do. Australia, for example. Oh my goodness, it's doing so well. So many more women joining in and giving that center point for people to come in. And once people join for visibility, they go, I want visibility to my business. I want visibility to my message. Great. Why they stay is for community, because they support. It's not a lonely place in here. You're supported. You come and go, great, come on in. Let's chat. So,
That's how it should be. And honestly, I want to say, I judged a pitch competition last week, and it was 20 different entrepreneurs pitching their business to like 20 different judges. It was a round robin. It was chaos, fun chaos, but absolute
wow.
chaos. But one that what really stuck out to me was there was this woman that came up and she gave me her pitch, and she's talking about she runs a painting business where she paints houses inside, outside. And I was like, oh, it's amazing. And at the end of it, I said to her, oh, how come you didn't talk about like being a woman in this business? I said, it's a male dominated industry. You should lean on the fact that you're a woman. It's a very unique selling proposition. There's very few women in that industry. And she's like, oh, because I was saying that, but then the guy over there told me I really shouldn't focus on the woman thing.
Yeah.
I was like mind blown. Like, are you kidding? Like, especially because you're in an industry where that's unique, you should be leaning on that even more because you can up the know, like, and trust factor for yourself, because imagine the single moms that, don't want a male stranger in their house, right? A
Right.
female like takes. So I was like, but what really surprised me was how much she didn't realize like just being a woman and sharing the fact that she was a woman and making that part of her whole selling point for herself was important. And I was like, come on, like that I think is the most incredible part of your whole business. And it was just interesting to me how, you know, maybe we don't as women enough celebrate that we're women and want to share that part of ourselves and our profile and who we are, and that it is part of our unique selling point in every industry. You can raise the fact that you're a woman, or you work with women, or you specialize in women's needs, or whatever it is. If we raise that awareness up too, I think it's
Mhm.
great for us, sort of the
Mhm.
rising tide, kind of thing.
Yeah, you have to keep that message going. And well done for you to really step in there and go, no, wait a minute. No, use that because you saw it where somebody tried to suppress it. Like, you don't need that. Well, how do you know? Right? You're a man. You don't know that, right? So you did a great job, great thing for her, and probably just changed her life just by sharing that simple thing and that to give her that belief for herself that, oh, okay. And more doors will open for her. I'm certain.
I think this also raises the matter about how much someone else's opinion will change our trajectory. So she was already doing it, and she was guided by a man who often women will hand over our authority to unconsciously. We give them the stage. We give it literally and also unconsciously.
Yeah.
We elevate a man's opinion, and this is something that, as you mentioned earlier, Gail, having awareness around it is the first step to changing it, to shifting it, and yeah, like I think as entrepreneurs, it's important for us to, as you've said, Gail, tap into that message and then to really be firm with that message, to know that that's your message. And however it lands with
Mhm.
anybody, male
Mhm.
or female, it's up to them.
Yeah.
That's fine. Not everybody's going to love your message, but it's your message.
Yeah.
Please don't change your message based on
Mm.
how it lands with somebody. Yeah.
Exactly. And, you know, just because there's been so much news, global media going around, you just take a look at who leads all of our countries. Seriously. Start to really look. And I know there's a couple of women, that are in leadership in countries, but the majority, when you see that big picture, the G7 picture or whatever other United Nations pictures, you see this is why maybe we give away our power that way, that we're not worthy enough to be the leader for people to follow. And again, it comes down to our own voice from decades and generations of conditioning that and to generationally heal from this or to create that change, it is one person at a time, it is one generation at a time. You have a young daughter, Laura. I'm sure her sense of empowerment is much stronger. You've already taught her that on the stage it's not about fear, it's about service, and that feeling of butterflies is fun. Right? So
Exactly.
this is these all these little steps help us build the next generation and the next generation after that to hopefully women have that freedom of going, I do matter. And that goes back to waving the magic wand at the beginning of the conversation. I wish every woman knew that she mattered in such a deep way. You're not just on this planet just because. You're not an afterthought, right? You came here with a gifted message, a purpose. And we just need to come in community to help surround you with that strength so that you have the confidence to get it out there, right? Even if we have to hold hands doing it, we do it together, you know?
Yeah. I love everything you just said. I mean, that's the perfect way to end this podcast on that note, because I think you're absolutely right. That community is what we've lost, in how we live our lives these days. We've lost a lot of community. So we have to actively go find it now. And they're there. And the Women's Speaker Association is a great example of a community for women, of women, to help us raise our voices so that maybe it's a little undercurrent of revolution in the air. I don't know. I want to see some change. I want to see some change in leadership. I want to see some change in power. I want to see some women get out there and share their vulnerable, authentic selves, tell their stories, and start stepping into their power, into their purpose, and just sharing. And I'm glad to have this stage, and I'm so glad you stepped on it, Gail, and shared all your wisdom. And I hope it inspires loads of women out there to do the same. So thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.